The Distinguished Flying Cross is among the top 4 decorations in the military. It is an award for bravery in the sky, and it is serving to unite a group of veterans in East Tennessee. This photograph captures the birth of a military brotherhood and a bond built on bravery in the sky.
It's the highest medal given for heroism and extraordinary achievement in flight.
The Distinguished Flying Cross is among the military's highest awards for valor. Of the thousands of military veterans in East Tennessee, there are 9 charter members of the newly formed local chapter of the DFC.
It's a tight fraternity, good group of people. We're very humble about it because we think that a lot of people should have received the DFC that didn't.
Among the notable recipients since Congress established the Distinguished Flying Cross in 1926, Naval Reserve veteran Charles Lindbergh for his first solo flight across the Atlantic from New York to Paris in 1927. Former President and World War II fighter-bomber pilot George H.W. Bush, and John Glenn, a veteran aviator, astronaut, and a 6-time recipient of the DFC.
Ground fire primarily, surface-to-air missiles.
John Grover Wilson is a veteran of 2 tours and 180 combat missions in Vietnam. In those 180 combat missions, I imagine there were 1 or 2 close calls.
Yeah, more than 1 or 2. I'd say probably 40.
The fighter pilot received the Distinguished Flying Cross for averting a near mid-air disaster that threatened to take his life and the lives of more than a dozen crew aboard a reconnaissance plane under heavy ground attack.
It was a top-secret mission, and I was over a really bad area when I'm sitting there and the #1 engine explodes, catches on fire. The plane was dropping, and the plane went from 220 to 160 just immediately. And I had to lower the plane to keep it flying, lower the nose. So as a result, if you can imagine, we got flames coming out the side of the plane.
You are a sitting duck for the people.
Absolutely. We had our lights out. We'd fly at altitude. We're usually above the AAA, and all of a sudden I'm down in it. We pulled the plane up to a really low speed, got the thing feathered. But there'd been a lot of damage. In fact, the crew had already put their chutes on to jump out. We had about 14 guys in the back. And I went over in a territory that I wasn't supposed to, but I didn't have a choice, really. I thought we'd burned up quite enough, and I wasn't sure the plane was going to stay together anyway. So I landed the plane and denying it.
That award went to you not just because you saved the plane and your own soul, but you had several souls aboard, I imagine.
Well, yeah, we had 18 souls on board. Well, my story is nothing like some of the stories that are out there. It's just amazing.
Medals for heroism often go on a shelf or get tucked away in a box. But after spreading the word about the new East Tennessee chapter, the DFC acted like a magnet for men with a risk-heavy resume.
So I said my prayers and I said, I'm going. He lowers me down and he puts me pretty close to the 3 guys that were down there. And I reached out, and, actually I swam up to him, talked to him a little bit, and I reached out until the guy turned around. And I took the first guy to the basket. Now keep in mind the seas are rolling 40, 60, 80.
Rescue swimmer Dave Yoder received the DFC for jumping out of a Coast Guard helicopter into foreboding seas 400 miles offshore at night in a howling storm to save 3 stranded sailors.
It happened to be my first offshore rescue. Everything after that's easy, right?
Their stories vary widely from military branch, crisis, and conflict.
Well, it was the greatest adventure anybody could ever have.
But John Grover Wilson says the founding fathers in the East Tennessee DFC chapter share a deep love of service, respect for tests each of them faced under fire, and they like a good story.
All of us speak the same language. Don't get between us when we're telling a story, because I even wrote a book for my family just so I wouldn't embellish the stories any more than I already have.
And we look forward to sharing more of their stories throughout the year. In all, the DFC Society lists 5,500 members across the U.S. and 20 chapters.